Good evening, barn burners, barn busters. Good to have you with us on Red Barn Radio. I'm Brad Becker. We are celebrating the 20th season of Red Barn Radio, and tonight we welcome you to show number 760. Woo! Our guest this evening is singer-songwriter Will Overman, who hails from Charlottesville, Tennessee. He's now living in Nashville. Will began his career touring up and down his East Coast with the Will Overman Band while attending college at the University of Virginia in Charlottesville. This Southern rock and roll influenced Americana project released 2 EPs and an LP, playing bar gigs and festival slots, including the prestigious Merlefest. Will has launched a solo career now, and he's been traveling extensively, and we are so glad to have him here in Lexington, Kentucky to perform on this second Red Barn Radio program of our 20th season. It is actually not the second Red Barn Radio program, but it is a Red Barn program in our 20th season, and we're glad to have Will with us. Welcome, Will Overman, to the Red Barn stage.
It's good to be here. Thank you guys for having me. This first song is called Living Wage. 1, 2, 3, 4. Waking up as she walks away, a promise is a lie without a plan. Left me with the dog and a cold cup of coffee made, and all that I think on ways I could be a better man. Christmas on credit, rent's a week late. Can't afford to buy beer, but I'm drinking champagne. It's time to shut up, time to show out. I got a real good heart and the know-how to piece it all together and find out from what I made. Time to get up, time to get straight, time to show that woman I mean what I say. Put a ring on her finger and I'm already halfway. If I can live on love, her smile would be my living wage. She's a song I hum when I'm afraid, and Adrian when Rocky gets beat. She gave me a heart, then she gave me a soul, and everything between. And I asked for nothing, just said follow your dreams. She pays the bills, I take out the trash. It's not a fair trade, but it's where we're at. It's time to shut up, time to show out. I got a real good heart and the know-how to piece it all together and find out from what I made. Time to get up, time to get straight, time to show that woman I mean what I say. Put a ring on her finger and I'm already halfway. If I could live on love, her smile would be my living wage. Living on the road, my friend, to keep you free and clean. Sang Van Zandt with a needle in his veins. I'm gonna take my dreams in stride with the coming rain. I know what I'm working for is so much greater than anything that I could ever sing. It's time I shut up. It's time I showed out. I got a real good heart, baby, I'm I'm trying to know how. It's time to get up, time to get straight, time to show that woman I mean what I say. Put a ring on a finger and I'm already halfway. I put a ring on a finger and I'm already halfway. If I could live on love, her smile would be my living wage.
Good evening and welcome to Red Barn Radio. Wherever in the world you're listening, welcome to Roots Music Southern Style. Thanks to WEKU, Red Barn Radio's official radio partner, NPR for Central and Eastern Kentucky. Listen online at weku.org. Red Barn Radio is supported by Visit Lex, Lexington, Kentucky's Convention and Visitors Bureau. More information on what Lexington has to offer is at visitlex.com. LexArts, Lexington, Kentucky's premier cultural development, advocacy, and fundraising organization, working for the development of a strong and vibrant arts community as a means of enhancing the quality of life in Central Kentucky. Follow Red Barn Radio on Twitter and like us on Facebook. Here's the host of Red Barn Radio to tell us more about tonight's performers.
Hello, folks. So good to have you with us this evening on Red Barn Radio. Will Overman is our guest tonight. Will's genre-bending storytelling approach to songwriting is a product of being born and bred on the East Coast, finding love and being tested on the West Coast, and then finding a renewed passion for his art around the world. After parting ways with his bandmates, Will delved deeper into his own writing. They say it's best to write about what you know, and soon Will would come to know pain and sorrow through his own personal and family challenges. The result is his debut solo EP, The Winemaker's Daughter, released in February of 2021. It's a retelling of the stories and moments from the last 3 years of beauty made possible through pain, all with a sweet undertone of hope for the future. Will's accompanied tonight by Tom Nato on pedal steel. Welcome back, Will Overman, to Red Barn Radio.
I'm going to play the title track off that record you just talked about. It's called The Winemaker's Daughter, and I wrote this just before my wife and I got married, and we were kind of lost in the wedding planning process. And this is about getting back to what really matters, which is about creating a life together. 2, 3, Tomorrow's just another day. Forget their advice, for it's the only thing we're supposed to do once. But you know, people, they'll say about anything. My suit is wool, your dress is white. We chose far, they chose to lie. Can't plan for the heat, and can't plan for the rain, but I plan to make you mine. And baby, bring on the rains, baby, bring on the thunder. Gonna make you my wife, maybe one day your mother. And time may change a few things. We're headed for open waters. I know it's just me and you, babe. The winemaker's daughter. Red, white, and muscadine. Your father's not a fan of mine, but all good things, they take some time. And I will treat you like he treats his wife. Fine, fine wine, sweet Virginia summertime. Good and God, she's mine. 17 gasoline whispering. Baby, bring on the rains. Baby, bring on the thunder. I'm gonna make you my wife, baby, one day your mother. And I may change a few things. We're heading for open waters. No, it's just me and you, babe. The winemaker's daughter. Oh, it's just me and you, babe. Winemaker's daughter.
Thanks, man. Good plan there, Tom. This next song is another one off my recent record. It's called Little Things, and it is about just that. All the little things that make up a relationship that sometimes I can take for granted. This song and much of my relationship revolves around drinking coffee. So a lot of coffee references in this one. You good? 1, 2, 3, 4.
Giving one more scoop, that's gonna get me through. Coffee time in the morning light, the best part of waking is you. She takes it black, she's simple like that. Our dog between our blanket and knees, he's always liked you more than me. He must see what I see, and I see you, and I see me underneath the white oak tree. Time when you need mine, of all you do and say, babe, it's the little things. I can give you romance, but darling, I don't dance. The way you move is gabardine smooth, and I'm a Goodwill pair of sweatpants. But when we're done with our chores, We'll have a beer on the porch. We'll start each day and end it the same, with each other and nothing more. Is there anything more? Oh. And I see you, and I see me underneath the white oak tree. And I'm big time, and you need mine, of all you do and say. Baby, it's the little things. Always thought I'd be the guy who liked to live alone, on the road, at the bar, just a rolling stone. I've loved others, but I'm grateful for the love they've shown, 'cause they're the names of the streets I took when I went home. Now I'm writing at the table that we eat upon, little phrases about the ways that you turn me on. I'm learning how to finally focus on little things like making coffee when the morning comes. And I see you, and I see me underneath the white oak tree. And I'm big time when you need mine, of all you do and say. Baby, it's the little things. She takes it black, she's simple like that.
Stuff, bud. Thanks, everybody. Let's see what we're doing next here. So this next song is called "A Traveler's Promise." And I wrote it a couple years ago. My wife and I were traveling across Europe, and we were in Athens, Greece, and we were trying to get to Crete, and there was a ferry workers strike, which we were totally fine with, because we were like, we're stuck in Athens, Greece. There are worse places to be stuck. But while we were there, I started writing this song, and it got me thinking about travel throughout life, being that on the road for me, touring, or being with, those I love, traveling, everything you learn out there. I feel like it's best to try and bring the good parts back home. So this song's all about that, and it's probably one of my favorite songs I've ever written.
Surrender. Years and broken down bus, with a driver who smokes and a toilet full of mud. And trust is riding on the night train. Bedroom full of strangers can drive you insane. Patience is a raincoat in Dublin. Best to pack it and not need it than get caught in the rain. Commitments is a traveler's trade. A life for so little can be so much weight. But I wouldn't cross this world with no other girl. I hope you know these things I'm learning, I'm bringing back home. Loving is what we were doing. We drank Buckfast and Belfast, and all the wine from Tuscany to Rome. But loving comes natural when you're sinning. When you slow down and you dry out, when you find out how much it's gonna take. But faith was St. Vitus in Prague. But every ancient thing from pubs to kings, older than my country, left me small. Jesus, every rock and roll band, all the weed and the wine in Amsterdam couldn't give me more than what I got from you. If we're talking faith, mine's in you.
All right. Thanks, y'all. Thank you so much. And Tom, this is a blast. Thanks, dude. Tom and I first met virtually on a podcast that I used to do. I'm going to revive at one point, called Deep Cuts and Coffee. And then we met this past fall when I was supposed to have a gig in Lexington, but COVID canceled that one. With you guys. Oh. Actually, I was going to say, yeah. And then this finally worked out. So glad you're here, man. This is awesome. And now I'm going to make Tom sit there awkwardly while I play a solo song. This next one's called Marine Street. And I wrote this while my wife was going through her second battle with cancer. She's doing great now. I always have to get that out there pretty early. But for a long time, we didn't know how she was going to be doing, and as I'm sure probably too many of y'all listening I've gone through. Cancer's a terrible thing, and it's a terrible thing to be a partner to somebody who's going through that, because it's a very helpless feeling. So when I was going through it with her, one of the only things that really made sense was to write through it and to get out some of that frustration. And the song is kind of the result of that. And it sounds pretty angry and frustrated and a bit hopeless, which it was at the time. But looking back on it years later, I think there's like an undertone of perseverance that I didn't really notice at the time. Hope you guys enjoy it. Again, it's called Marine Street.
Tear stains on my t-shirt, I've got 1,000 things to say. But with your head on my chest, all I could suggest was everything will be okay. Ritter said I got a girl in the war, I'd equate mine just the same. My baby's fighting a battle of her own, I'm just here to keep the wolves at bay. Baby, I don't know if there's a God, where the hell is he? And babe, I don't know, it's goddamn hard to believe. When I was young, my daddy told me, son, when there's tension on the end of a line, you gotta give a little bit and dance with the ship, but you won't catch 'em every time. I'm hardly old, but older than I was, and my daddy lives across the states. With all the lessons I've learned and respect I've earned, I'm a child again today. Babe, I don't know if there's a God, where the hell is he? And babe, I don't know, it's goddamn hard to believe. And babe, I don't know if there's a God, where the hell is he? And babe, I don't know, it's goddamn hard to believe. Cancer for dummies, and life ain't applied for Nancy Drew. There's no right way to deal with the wrong. To get past, you gotta go right through. To get past, you gotta go right through. To get past.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Brad.
All right. Hey, folks. Great to have you with us. Our guest this evening is Will Overman. And Will is, I think, a native of Virginia, Charlottesville.
Yep.
And you're living in Nashville now. But before we talk Nashville, let's talk Charlottesville and where you come from.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I would rather talk Charlottesville, so that sounds good to me.
Okay. All right. Well, good. Good. So were you actually born there?
So I was not born there. I was born in eastern North Carolina, and I grew up in Virginia Beach. So I was kind of a coastal kid growing up. and then I moved to Charlottesville about 8 years ago for college.
Oh,
So,
okay, gotcha.
Yeah, so I was not raised there.
And so, were you then raised mostly down there near Norfolk?
I was.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was your mom or dad a career naval person?
Not military, surprisingly.
Huh.
No, my dad's from there. My mom's from Suffolk, which is just south of Virginia Beach.
Oh, yeah.
And no, not military, but I know a lot of good military folks down there.
Huh.
Yeah.
Did your parents have anything to do with your interest in music and?
Big time.
Oh, good. Tell me.
My parents were deadheads for a bit. I think they
Oh,
cringe.
no.
I think they cringe every time I say that on air. But
No, that's all right. It's a good thing.
my dad had like 7 VW buses at one point because they all kept dying on him. But they love the Grateful Dead. They instilled that in me early. I still love the Dead, and I think the biggest thing for me was that my dad loved bluegrass. So
okay.
my journey with Americana kind of started very traditionally with bluegrass and with mountain music and old time music.
And Old and in the Way, was that the bridge for
Old
him?
in the Way
to
was huge for
bluegrass?
him, exactly, and Jerry and everything. And I went from that and from going to Merlefest with him to finding like contemporary bands like the Avett Brothers, and that's what really like kind of opened my eyes to what's possible with Americana.
Huh.
Yeah.
When you say what's possible, you mean just the broad spectrum of options that there are within that idiom?
Yeah, I think like having, all this knowledge of everything from Ralph Stanley to Bill Monroe was wonderful, and I love and have always loved that kind of music. But as a teenager, full of angst, when I saw musicians like Scott and Seth Avett writing songs like they were writing and performing like they were performing with the instruments that the Bill Monroes of the world were using, it was much more appealing because I was like, I want to write sad, angry songs and thrash my guitar around.
How old were you when you went to Merlefest with your dad?
I probably went to Merle for the first time when I was like 14 or 15.
So
Yeah.
that first time, do you remember back to that first time you went? Were you like, okay, I'll go, or were you excited
No,
about it?
Honestly, I loved old time music from the get-go. I think what helped with that was that my dad picked up guitar when he was 40, and I picked up the cello, and we kind of like grew together with that. And I ended up playing like cello for like 10 years in high school, and I dabbled at the piano, but it was kind of like this agreement that he and I had together. So I think because we had shared that, and I was actually making music and singing with him and his band, by the time I went to Merlefest, I was all for it.
So did you play like Scruggs style cello or clawhammer cello?
Yeah, clawhammer cello. Yeah, clawhammer cello.
No, yeah, cello. I play old time cello music.
Yeah, all the classical players out there are cringing. They're
That's
like,
the
"Oh, man."
oldest
Yeah.
of old time.
Yep.
Well, old time music is great that way. For a guy, it's great for a guy picking up the instrument when he's 40 years old.
Yeah,
Because old time music just lends itself to that.
it does. It does, and
And the old time world loves beginners too.
it does. It really does. Yeah, I was always intimidated by the picking circles, though. I never got into that. It always scared me.
Well, I would think more so right with bluegrass music, because in bluegrass they always expect somebody to take a solo.
Yeah.
In old time music, you just have to be willing to play a song through 70 times.
Yep.
And hang in there with it.
Get in your fingers, and you're good to go.
Well, so then you found yourself then later on. This kind of fast forwards, right? You kind of ended up at Merlefest on your own. Do I understand that properly?
I did, yeah. So
Okay.
my old band, Will Overman Band, we played there in 2015 or 16. I
So
believe.
let's go back. So when did you actually first start a band, find bandmates, and find yourself like that place in your life where, like, hey, I'm ready to take some stuff out and form something?
Yeah, that's a good question. When I moved to Charlottesville, it was 2013. I put out a Craigslist ad, and basically said I want to start a band, and that's how I found the first folks I played with. And actually, I played with a guitar player that I found through Craigslist for like 5 years. And he was the first one. And then Charlottesville's a small scene. and it's small enough that I basically was able to like network other players, and it just kind of came together. So it was me just being a college kid, wanting to start a band, reaching out on Craigslist first.
That's a lot of confidence.
Or stupidity. I don't think I knew the difference.
Well, look at somebody. You met somebody, a good player, good guitar player, and he stayed with you for 5 years. So
and he didn't kill me, because that could have happened on Craigslist too.
What do you think? What do you think he found working with you that was satisfying? Do you mind going there?
No, not at all. I think even though like I at that age, that's like 20-ish, 19, 20, I was a hack at the guitar and not a very proficient player, but I've always had a lot of drive. I think that's set me apart from folks, and I'm still not the best guitar player, singer, or songwriter out there, but I'll outwork most people.
You do just fine, yeah. And
yeah, I think that's the one thing I can control is my work output. So I like to think folks see that.
So when you formed your first band, did you guys cut your teeth in the Charlottesville sort of music scene?
We did, yeah. Central Virginia is a good place to play, especially Charlottesville, because there's so many wineries and breweries.
Okay.
So we would play that circuit quite a bit. Yeah.
And so for listeners who maybe aren't familiar with Charlottesville, tell folks about some of the other sort of towns within, an hour and a half drive of there.
Yeah, so Charlottesville's at the foot of the Blue Ridge Mountains, and about an hour away is Richmond, which is kind of Virginia's like central hub. You've got Northern Virginia and D.C. as well. It's also a great scene. But Richmond's there, Charlottesville's there, and I always kind of think it was like Charlottesville is like Richmond's like little brother. It's like the crunchier bluegrass, Americana side of Richmond. Richmond's got a lot more rock, a lot more grunge, a lot more hip hop. But they're right next to each other, and it creates a really cool hotbed in the middle of the state. And then you've got places like Bristol and Roanoke with just tons of history, and there's a lot of music in Virginia that I feel like people don't think about. But I mean, from Patsy Cline to, you name it. There's just so many artists there.
Well, yeah. I mean, Bristol's a real hot point.
Oh, yeah.
In old time and country music. And
yeah.
It's amazing. It's amazing. How would you describe the Harrisonburg, Virginia music scene?
Oh, man. My manager, who's from there, is probably listening. So
This is James.
A lot of pressure on that one.
This is James, where James Madison University is. A huge school.
Yep. Evan, if you're listening, I love Harrisonburg. It's produced some huge talent in the past few years alone. Like there's a band called Illiterate Light who's out of there that has blown up nationally the past year. And I can't speak on Harrisonburg too much because I'm not from there, but for a small town in Shenandoah Valley, there's something in the water there as far as music goes. People really care about it too, which is always a great thing.
Yeah. Hey, folks, I'm talking with Will Overman, and he is visiting us here in Lexington to play on Red Barn Radio, and we're glad you're here. And you're living in Nashville now, so we'll get to talking some Nashville and talking more about the winemaker's daughter when we come back.
That sounds good.
All right, Will Overman, folks.
This next song is called All I Say. It's kind of a song about being humbled within your relationship. 1, 2, 3, 4. Finished off my last pack of Newports. Man, she's been laying into me. She said you're not who I fell for. You're becoming who your father used to be.
That's not a man I aim to be. I got a call from an old friend while she was talking about her day. I gotta go, I said, it's John from UVA. She fell silent as she walked away. Why do I do these ugly things? When I is all I say. Oh, when love, I let it slip away. Oh, and you, I wish I had known. Well, all that you were before you were gone. And our kitchen becomes a courtroom. When I ask her, what's the matter? What do you mean? Then it's every little thing we used to love, but now I'm just crying in the shower. There are no tears in the shower. Is all I say. Oh, when love, I let it slip away. Oh, when you, I wish I had known all that you were before you were gone. Every closing door becomes a slam when silence fills the air. You know that you're wrong, but your ego says hold strong, so you can be like me. I'm singing, I was all that I said. Oh, and love, well, the fame went to my head. Oh, and you, I wish I had known. Well, all that you were before you were gone. Oh, and I do that I said. Yeah, love, I let it slip away. that you were before you were gone.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you so much. Tom, thanks for doing that delicate dance back there. I'm going to play another solo one here. This is a new one of mine. The new song you halfway know on live radio is always a good time. No pressure. This one's called Hindsight, and it's one of the quickest songs I've ever written. They don't normally come fast for me. I can mull them over for months at a time, and I'm normally not in a huge rush to finish songs. But this one kind of fell out of me. It was, I think, back in March of 2020, and I had just gotten home, and I had been on the road, and we were canceling dates, and we were watching the NBA cancel and the world shut down and all this stuff, and we were trying to figure out how to keep playing shows, and little did we know that the world was about to shut down for 18 months. And I had never felt that experience before of just a total lack of control. And I was very scared, and I was scared for my wife and I, and I'm sure, like most of us here, we were all very scared. So this song's about that time. It's a time in my life that I hope to never go through again, knock on wood. But I think there are a lot of silver linings, at least for me, that I did have in those dark hours, and I'm glad I was able to pull some music out of it. Hope you guys enjoy it.
These days I pray a little bit longer and hold those I love a little bit stronger. A hurricane at night, the Santa watch its warning. With the darkest storms come the brightest mornings. Don't worry, sweet babe, there might be a monster, but I'll be your blanket. Under me you'll find cover, and I'll play you a song to drown out the rain, and build you a fire so warm you'll feel no pain. We thought we'd done enough, ran every number for every outcome, but hindsight's 20/20 when you're living in a dream. It's hard looking forward when we can't say what we've seen. Deep down inside, I've always wanted war, a cause to define myself, something worth dying for. But little did I know that it all come to be, and in my finest hours you'd be right next to me, lying in bed trying to rest, but it's all coming down, my love. We'll do our best. We've got more than most, 'cause there's you and there's me. If you make the bread, then I'll pour the tea. And we thought we'd done enough, ran every number for every outcome, but hindsight's 20/20 when you're living in a dream. Well, it's hard looking forward when we can't say what we've seen.
Thank y'all so much. Yeah, got through that one. Thank you, Brad. I appreciate it. All right, Tom. Busting out the electric. Tom, you are what my father-in-law would call a five-tool guy. That's a big compliment. I didn't know what it meant for a long time, so yeah, just to clarify. That's a good thing. Just a tool, yeah. No. Tom is not a tool. This next song is called Crossroads, and I put out an EP a couple years ago with this as the title track. And I wrote this song right when I finished college. I was kind of burnt out with music at the time. My old band had just split up. Didn't fully know what I wanted to do with my life. I was also kind of peeved that I felt like I had to know what I wanted to do with my life at 23. So I wrote this song, basically saying to myself to relax a little bit, give myself a little more time, and that there's no rush. Sometimes sitting at the intersection, deciding which direction to go is the right place to be.
I moved out of the city to a farm outside of town. At night, I can't hear a sound. It's just me and my woman. She grows tomatoes in our front yard. I love my roots, they're strong and hard. Past few years, I've been stuck inside my head. The few hours that I got became the only thing we did in our bed. I let my ears grow shorter and my hair grow long. But when the days outlast the years, boy, you know you're doing something wrong. I'm at a crossroads. Not supposed to know where to go. I'm at a crossroads. The road ahead is long and there ain't no sense in beating the lights at the crossroads of your life, no. I moved out of the city to a farm outside of town. At night, oh, I can't hear a sound. And I made mistakes, and I pumped the brakes, and I learned a few things, like how a woman's love can bring you back to earth. Well, that remains unseen. I'm at a crossroads. Not supposed to know where to go. I'm at a crossroads. The road ahead is long and there ain't no sense in beating the light at the crossroads of your life, no.
Bud. Thanks, y'all.
Good to have you with us this evening, folks, to enjoy the music of Will Overman and his stage buddy here, Tom Nato. Before I tell you about what we have coming up next on Red Barn Radio next week, remember, Red Barn live streams both tonight's and on any Wednesday remain available online for you to view at your convenience on the Red Barn YouTube channel. Our live video stream is also available on the weku.org website, as is our audio stream, compliments of WGAD.net in Central New York. Don't miss a single episode of our program, and be sure to tell your friends what you like about Red Barn Radio. Red Barn Radio, listen to the live. All right. We are really looking forward to introducing you to next week's guest, Mr. Jonathan Pennington. Jonathan grew up in Sandy Hook, Kentucky, the home of country legend Keith Whitley. He started playing guitar at age 14. He learned to sing harmony from listening to old Stanley Brothers records. He attended music school in Minnesota and Nebraska, and he has played professionally and recorded music in many venues and studios throughout the Midwest, including notable venues the 7th Street Entry and Fine Line in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Jonathan Pennington will be joined by his band Moonlight Mile and guarantees a great night of roots music, Southern style, and that's next week on Red Barn Radio. Be sure to join us. And now let's get back to tonight's Red Barn Radio program. We welcome you live on our social media platforms, broadcasting from the Arts Place Performance Hall here in the grand city of Lexington, Kentucky. Please welcome back Will Overman to the Red Barn stage.
Good to be here. Thanks for having me.
All right.
This next song is a new one, and I actually just recorded it about 4 weeks ago in Nashville. So it's very fresh for me, and I'm really excited about it. And I feel like I'm beating a dead horse here. I feel like if you go to see a musical act, or you've been in the past 6 months, just get ready for every songwriter to be like, hey, I wrote this during COVID, because we had a lot of free time. So This is another one of those songs. But this song is really important to me because it's about mental health, and mental health is something I did not address until I was forced to sit still for a year and a half, and it's been tough but good for me. And song is for all those people struggling out there mentally, but also all the folks that help those of us who are struggling, which for me is my wife. It's called Heart Pine. Hope you guys enjoy it. 1, 2, 3, 4.
About a year ago I went insane and tried to write myself off, but I couldn't even sign my name. I had to make a choice, it was so far from shore. The battle in my head wanted me dead, but I wanted you more. Little did I know I didn't know me. Didn't know I'd break like water on the stones of my deceit. I told you my past and I gave you the weight. Thought I was holding on instead of holding the gun and pushing you away. Began to break and to take what I needed to calm myself down. Was in deep with the beast, I was fading when you came around. I heard you on the hard pine, walking down the gravel driveway, running to give a little Friday love on a Tuesday night. My head in your hands, it's all alright, 'cause you pull me through. No goodbyes when I headed south. Just said go on to your mama's, I'll be here when you figure it out. 'Cause Carolina billboards told me to pray. But on I-95 all I saw were your eyes begging me to stay. Heaven, hell, I know well, salvation ain't on a page. It's forgiveness, babe, I'm in this, all I need is a little grace. I heard you on the hard pine, walking down the gravel driveway, running to give a little Friday love on a Tuesday night. My head in your hands, it's all alright, 'cause you pull me through. Yeah, you pull me through. Heard you on the hard pine walking. You heard you on the hard pine walking. Yeah, I heard you on the hard pine walking. I heard you on the hard pine walking down the gravel driveway, running to keep a little Friday love on a Tuesday night. It's all alright, 'cause you pull me through. Yeah, you pull me through.
Thanks, y'all. Thank you guys so much.
You mean to skip past Bad Apartment? Is that what
I did a flip-flop. Yep. I caught Tom off guard with that earlier today. You're not the only one. This next song is it's called Bad Apartment, and I was just talking to Brad right before the show that I know Brad's cousin, and Brad's cousin basically used to live down the road from me in Charlottesville, and part of this song is about getting way too drunk with Brad's cousin. And I say that being a dear friend of who we're talking about. I just can't keep up with him when he's drinking.
Who can?
Yeah. It's that Irish blood, I mean, I'm telling you. When you go do picklebacks with your friends who are known as the drinking band in town, it's not going to end well for you. This song's called Bad Apartment, and it's about that, and it's about all the weird places we end up living in our 20s. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4.
And to think we complained about the rent of all the place we haven't stopped talking about since the rainy day that goes by. No bound and lease that I wouldn't sign for a moment in that yellow kitchen with you. Can you believe we complained about the drive to the bars, but we were never going out that night? Buck naked and a bottle of wine, warmed by the fire, eating cold fried rice. Rain or snow, we were shaking all the time. An apartment on a back street in a small town. Tread lightly, love quietly, don't you make a sound. Because a man downstairs smoking cigarettes will have the landlord knocking at 5. Bad apartment, better times. With the boys at the river's end, too gone to drive, forgot to call, and I was leaving when I stumbled in. 3 words turn into one, and bed becomes a couch when the whiskey has won. I love you, I am sorry, mean the same. An apartment on a back street in a small town. Tread lightly, love quietly, don't you make a sound. Because a man downstairs smoking cigarettes will have the landlord knocking at 5. A bad apartment, better times. And I had a dream where I couldn't find you, learning to live without lying right next to you. And oh, there ain't a day that goes by, nobody leaves that I wouldn't sign for a moment in that yellow kitchen with you. For a moment in that yellow kitchen with you.
Thank y'all. Thank you so much. Okay, I'm gonna try another new one. This is daunting yet again. Here we go. I don't know about y'all, but I am not a huge fan of January as a month. I'm typically broke, hungover after the holidays, and cold. And I don't like being either of those things. And I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of New Year's either. I think that I like the idea of resolutions. I like the idea of looking forward and striving to be a better person than I was the year before, but I think it can create this strange pressure sometimes. And I don't like it. Not a fan of it. So this song is song's called Another December. And it's about that. It's about having to look back on the past year and not hitting your goals and how that makes you feel. And it's just, I think there's something, I think we could all be a little more human when it comes to this time of the year. I think my guitar could treat me better. Oh, we're good to go?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
We're going to talk and then take
Okay.
a break and tune. No big deal.
Awesome. That's good to know.
Okay.
Thanks, Brad.
Yep.
All right. Another December. Here we go. Christmas come and gone, another year in the bag, clearing out the fridge, taking out the trash, the hair of the dog for too many days, wishing the family would leave, but their love would stay. Back again, wondering, will I begin to finally make a change? In myself, in the world, for my girl, or will I hesitate? It's been a long trip round the sun, and it's another December, just another December. Wondering what have I done? The cookies are going dry. Lord knows I'm not. I blacked out on the 24th. Christmas Day I felt like I got shot. And I yelled at my wife. I didn't know I was mean, till she told me all the things I said the next morning as I was looking for weed. Back again, wondering, will I begin to finally make a change? In myself, in the world, for my girl, or will I hesitate? It's been a long trip round the sun. It's been a long trip round the sun, and it's another December, just another December. Wondering what have I done? What have I done? And I wish she knew that I really meant it this time. But then again, we've both been here before, and she knows every line. There's only so many tries before you call it a spade. Like the 4 gone to 5, I know that I can change.
It's been a long trip round the sun. It's been a long trip round the sun, and it's another December, just another December. Wondering what have I done?
Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
All right. Hey, Will, it was interesting for me hearing you talk about your experience during the pandemic, and it sounds like on some levels you thrived and that you were able to do some writing, but it also sounds like it was an experience that that may have at some points in time sort of swiped your inspiration as well. What did you experience? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. I don't think I ever thrived. I definitely, when it hit, I made a decision myself that I was going to work as hard as I could for as long as I could and try and keep things going.
That work ethic of yours.
Yeah, I just was.
Yeah.
It was kind of a motivator. It was like, this sucks, and we've all been dealt a really crappy card here, but I'm gonna use this time to work as hard as I can and try and keep my music career rolling. And I did that for a while, but it was funny. It was like, and what made that easier was that we pushed my record back to a release in February of 2021. So my manager and I, who were working together, we had this great goal to get to, doing all the promotion of it and everything, and we had that, and it was such a beautiful thing to hold on to. But once we hit that goal and we released the record, that's when mentally it got really hard for me, because it was kind of like I had worked on this thing for a year like a child, sent it off into the world, and I couldn't go tour behind it. I couldn't do anything with it. I couldn't see people's reactions, and I was playing these songs live. So that's when it just, I don't know, it all kind of didn't crumble, but it all hit me really hard. And got really
How did you
heavy,
respond? How did you respond to that? How did your mind and body respond to that?
I got really low. I mean, I definitely suffered depression throughout the pandemic, and got very low then because I had lost what I was kind of basing my work ethic off of. There was nothing I could do, and it was a lot of musicians I talked to about that period of like February 2021 to like April. There was this weird disconnect of like we could see the summer on the horizon and see the shows starting to pop up out there, but we weren't there, and we were just kind of in this limbo. And for me, that was the hardest period, was just waiting and knowing things would get better, but there's nothing I could do to speed up that process.
Mm-hmm. So, in the end, did you find out that you could sort of tap some practices, some sort of mindfulness practices, and some kinds of things that could help you sort of rise out of that? Because here we are again, right?
Yeah. I mean, I started therapy during the pandemic for the first time ever.
Has that been an interesting process? And
I mean, it's probably one of the best decisions I've ever made.
Yeah.
To put my pride aside and ask for help was huge, and that was a big part of my healing. And I picked up fly fishing, and I've always wanted to fly fish, and I was like, man, I'm gonna do this during the pandemic, and that was very cathartic, just to go stand in the woods for 4 hours and not even catch anything. It was just nice to be outside.
Wow.
So little things like that, and just spending time in the yard with my wife and my dog, and building a garden, and I got very small in my tasks, which was nice.
That's a very nice way of putting it. So, your wife's name is
Janie.
Janie. So,
Yep.
So some time ago, I don't know how long ago, did you and Janie have to sort of have that face-to-face encounter with cancer?
She's had it twice. She had it at the beginning of our relationship. We were like 19.
Oh, wow.
And
Okay.
then she was re-diagnosed later in our relationship when we were like 23. We had basically both just finished school, and that's when she was re-diagnosed. It was at that point. So,
Wow, that's two very young people experiencing that, and a very young relationship experiencing that.
yeah, it was. Yeah, I still am trying to kind of parse through what happened, because it's one of those things that's so traumatic and so hurried that while you're in it, you're just trying to get through the day, and you don't realize how crazy it is. But it's definitely shaped, kind of how I view the world and life and mortality and all those heavy things going forward. I think when you face something like that at a young age, when you should just not really have too many cares in the world, it just changes things, for sure.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
I would love to hear you talk a little bit about the process of working through an album of songs that are all about one thing, so personal, that being your marriage and your marriage partner and that relationship. I don't know if that's if that was your design on the record from the start, or how that all came to be, but I think I'm curious to know about that process for you. Was that process for you one that ultimately you feel kind of fertilized your relationship with Janie?
I didn't set out to write a record about my wife and my marriage. I think it just kind of happened. I mean, relationships are always a source of inspiration for songwriters, and I happen to write a lot of songs about my muse, which is my wife. And I had written these songs throughout basically the start of our relationship to when we were getting married, and it kind of just started to form this really nice narrative. I had songs like Bad Apartment, which I just played about when we were in college, and then I had songs about her getting cancer, and songs about us having coffee in the morning, or songs about us actually getting married. And I started to see this story that I could weave through all of that.
And was the pattern, were you starting to see that potential for your experience with Janie, that the particulars of your relationship with Janie and the experience that you guys have had together had some universality for a larger audience?
For sure, yeah.
Yeah.
I never set out to create this inaccessible piece of art. And I never want to do that. That's why I love songwriting. I love the songs that there's a detail that only the songwriter knows about, but also you can apply the rest of the song to, you can imprint yourself into that song. And I definitely knew that the themes in this record were universal. And that's why I think it was so important to me to get it out there, is because I was proud of it, and I love what it is for my wife and I, because it's kind of a timestamp, but it's for everyone. I think everyone can find a piece of a relationship they've been in this record.
Indeed, yeah. At what point in time did you discover that you were a writer? Because you are, and a good one.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I started to write songs in high school. I probably started putting pen to paper when I was like 16, I think. And I just knew from an early age. I just had this innate feeling. I was like, I want to write songs. I don't want to play other people's songs. I don't want to become an instrumentalist. I don't want to really do anything other than write songs and perform them to people. I had just had a strong desire to do that, and that's never gone away. Even when music as a career has seemed like a futile path, I still think I'd be writing songs even if I wasn't actually performing shows. I just enjoy it. It's healing for me, and there's something about getting all this stuff in my head out and put it on paper.
Yeah. You consider yourself nostalgic?
I think so. I think I'm definitely a nostalgic romantic. I think I'm still figuring that out with myself about how I view the world, and how I'm viewing reality and mixing that with what I wish the world would be, or wish it could be like it was at some point in time.
Yeah, it's interesting. I've been thinking about that a lot myself lately.
I feel like we all are. I mean, because like we're in this age of there's a before time and now there's an after time. I feel like this is the first demarcation in all of our lifetimes. We didn't have World War II or anything. It's before COVID and after COVID.
Yeah, right.
And so I feel like we've all been forced to there's a forced nostalgia because the time that existed then will no longer exist. Going forward.
And there's that trouble, right? It's that place of peace that nostalgia can present for us, but it's also that sort of stuck thing that can also be presented to us when we find ourselves unable to sort of deal in the present, right?
Definitely, yeah. My mom's always said to me, and it's very vague, but she always says you can't go back, and you can apply that to whatever you want to apply it to. But I've found myself thinking that a lot with nostalgia, and I think it can be toxic at some point to just lean into that too much because there's no going back. I miss things about certain points in my life or certain periods in my life or my relationships or whatever, but going forward, I think we just build on that versus trying to get back to that exact thing.
Yeah, and I would think too, in the case of you and Janie, forward is probably a more pleasant way to look than back.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, I think we use the backwards looking to inform us going forward.
Your marriage is obviously one thing that keeps you centered. Do you also have a hobby, something you do other than music that sort of keeps you, that gives Janie her space?
Yeah. It keeps me sane.
Other than fly fishing?
Definitely, yeah. I love fly fishing. I'm not good at it, but I love it. I love taking photos. I'm a pretty decent photographer.
Trained?
No, I taught myself. I did do video work for a long time professionally. So anything with a camera, I love doing. And then I love being outdoors. I was raised in a really outdoor-focused household, so hiking and backpacking and skiing and fly fishing, anything that takes me outside, I love doing.
What do you like to, back to your photography, what do you like to photograph?
The outdoors,
Yeah.
normally.
Yeah.
Landscapes and all that kind of stuff.
More than your birds and that kind of thing. That seems like a real niche.
Yeah, not wildlife. I like to have to work for a view and to try and capture that.
I find it kind of interesting, back to this nostalgia topic, I find it kind of interesting that it's become so popular for mobile photographers or phone photographers to use filters that sort of make it look like their pictures were taken in another time.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I find that kind of fascinating. What's as a photographer, what's your take on mobile photography?
Well, I mean, to your point about making him look old, I love shooting film, and there's definitely nostalgia in that. And like, film doesn't, for all intents and purposes, doesn't look as good as the cameras these days. But there's something about it that just makes me feel good. It reminds me of a time that I wasn't even alive because film wasn't even really a big thing when I was born.
Yeah, right.
So I really don't know what it is about film, but there's definitely romanticism to it. But as far as mobile photographers, I don't know. I think there's a lot of pretense.
Mobile device photographers.
Yeah. I think people who shoot on their phones, I think it's awesome. Like I think there's a lot of pretense from some photographers who have all the gear and everything and consider themselves fine art photographers. And I think if you've got a camera in hand, they say the best camera is the one you have on you. And I think if you're shooting photos that make you feel good and you're pushing you creatively and that's your phone, I think it's awesome.
Well, I don't know where I'm at on that, but it just seems that right now we have that gratification, that quick gratification of, I have so many photos on my phone I've never even looked at.
Yeah.
I go out and shoot 30 pictures and I forget that I even shot them.
That's why I like film, is because I have 30 shots. I'll take them. I have no idea if it came out well, when I finish that roll, I'll send it off to the processors. I'll get it back a month later, and then I've got hard copies of these shots, and that's what I love about it, is that I get to see and look at my creation and enjoy it.
Yeah.
Versus having 1,000 photos I've never seen on my phone.
You're in Nashville now, and when did you and Janie decide to move there? And what was what's the game plan?
That's a good question. So we moved there back in July of last year. And we had been talking about a city for a long time. And I think, like a lot of folks, when COVID hit, we all wanted change, and it was a natural nexus point. And that was definitely the case for Janie and I. And I went to Nashville in May to record some singles. And I did not plan on moving there, but I ended up just having a great time during that week of recording and falling in love with it. And I'd never been there just as a civilian. I'd always toured through it, and touring is not a great way to see a city. You get passed through and see some dirty club and leave. And that had been my experience with Nashville. And after my trip there in May, I just you could feel this energy. The town was kind of waking back up after the year, and it just felt right. So we decided, if not Nashville, where? So let's do it. And as far as the plan, I am still formulating that one.
I don't mean to get you angry asking you about
no,
what your
not
plan
at all.
is.
It's funny. I bet a lot of folks are like, oh, what are you going to do there? Are you going to write? Or are you going to do this? And I think first and foremost, my goals with music are to write my own songs and perform my own songs and push Will Overman as an artist project. But it's been really inspiring being surrounded by so many incredible writers in Nashville and the co-writing scene. I love it. I'd love to co-write.
So you've gotten into that.
Yeah, I have.
And how did you fall into that? I mean, how did that? It wasn't a Craigslist ad, I assume.
No. So there's a really nice Charlottesville contingency in Nashville. So when I moved there, I had a little teeny network already, which has made it really nice because going there cold turkey would be really difficult to break into. So luckily I've got some good friends there, and they've helped me kind of get into the scene. And I've noticed that if you throw yourself into the mix there and reach out to people, who are farther along in your career than you are, and you're genuine about it and you just want to learn, people are generally pretty receptive.
All right.
Yeah.
Nice experience. What part of town are you living in?
We're in East.
All
We're
right.
South Inglewood. So
Nice.
in the thick of it.
Nice area.
Yeah, that's great.
Will Overman is our guest this evening. Will, it's been great talking to you, and especially great listening to your music. Tom, thank you for all that you've been adding to the music. It's beautiful to have you back on Red Barn Radio. Fans of Red Barn Radio know who you are. Tom has been here supporting so many artists over the years. And Tom, it's great to have you back. Thanks for being with us. Yeah, all right, let's get back to some music with Will Overman on Red Barn Radio.
All right, Tom, let's do this. This next song is the one song on my last record, The Winemaker's Daughter, that isn't totally applicable to my relationship with my wife, but it's I've had to explain this in a lot of interviews why this song's in there. It's because it represents a portion of my life that was, it's just part of my story. It's part of the narrative of me. And this song is about an old friend of mine that I first started playing music with, quote unquote professionally, back in Virginia Beach where I grew up. And his name was Ellwood, and he was one of the more gifted guitar players I've ever had the fortune of playing with. But like a lot of gifted artists, he had a lot of demons, and ended up taking his own life a few years ago. And when that happened, I knew I wanted to write him a song immediately. I just was like, it's the best way to pay tribute to an old rocker, and I was really intimidated by it because with big events in my life, I just want to do them justice, and this person had meant something to me, and I wanted to do him justice. So I gave it a couple years after his passing, but I eventually pulled out the newspaper from when he had passed away, and there was like a full front page spread in Virginia Beach on him. And I sat down at the kitchen table and I started to pull details out of his life and try to kind of tell his story through my lens. So the song goes out to an old friend of mine. It's called Ellwood, and it's a tribute to, it's a rock anthem for an old rocker. 1, 2, 3.
Take out the end of shots, make it crown. And save me them back, won't you, babe? I keep my strings in there. It loosens me up, it helps me to sing. At least that's what I tell my friends when they ask why I'm drinking. Once I'm feeling good, I'll crawl back to my corner to sing songs I don't want to sing. My hands don't shake 'cause I'm nervous. My mouth don't mumble because I'm scared. My legs don't buckle 'cause I've been running. You can't run from nothing when you're stuck in place. In my faded glory days in 75, I was young and alive. When a bar at the beach didn't know my name, when a tab I ever paid. Then a bump in a stall and I blew it all. The girls on the street got to know my name. I don't remember a thing, but now I'm all messed up, strumming a Gibson SJ. I pawned all but one to pay for yesterday. My hands don't shake 'cause I'm nervous. My mouth don't mumble because I'm scared. My legs don't buckle 'cause I've been running. You can't run from nothing when you're stuck in place. In my faded glory, don't you know I don't want to ride on a DUI bike going 35 in a 55, my guitar on my back, spending weekends in jail for a vice I can't crack. And dear Diana, I'm so sorry for the hell I put you through. You were my best and I was your worst. We couldn't make it work, but we made a beautiful boy. And I called him Harrison because he brought the sun. But now it's time to go out like my mother, to a place where I'm no longer a slave. You may say I'm giving up, or giving out, but to you I say it's better to burn out than to fade. It's better to burn than to fade. My hands don't shake 'cause I'm nervous. My mouth don't mumble because I'm scared. My legs don't buckle 'cause I've been running. You can't run from nothing when you're stuck in place. You can't run from nothing when you're stuck in place. In my faded glory days, faded glory days, faded glory days. Thank y'all. Thank you so much. Thanks, guys.
All right. This next song is a love song to my home state of Virginia. This is Brad was asking about when I started writing. This is one of the first songs I wrote that was actually halfway decent. I think I wrote this when I was like 16 or 17. And there's not really a story to this one other than I love Virginia a lot, and being in Nashville now, I miss it quite a bit. I miss the Blue Ridge Mountains, I miss the ocean. There's no ocean in Tennessee. A lot of rivers though. Hope you guys enjoy this. It's called Ode to Virginia. Down south, there's an old man lives on the corner of a street called Main. Down south, there's this old man, and ain't no one knows his name. He plays a flat top made of plywood, stomps on a suitcase he carries around, and he buys new strings when he can, living off the money from his last hold down. That a man may taste of bourbon and shine, it may smell like mustard gas and rose, Vonnegut couldn't write nothing better. I'll take you down south like this man's prose. He'll sing, take me back to Virginia, back before I had a name. Lay me in a golden field on a mountainside, let that blue sky fill my veins. Let the James, let it carry me home. Let it wash away all my sin. Like an old dogwood, I'll die where I began. 2, 3, 4. Can you taste the dust in his words? Feel the earth of freshly turned fields? Can you feel the salt of a virgin shores? Hear him roar, it ain't gonna yield. When it's cruised those lines, he's ridden those roads, he's rolling those hills. But road time, it don't mean he ain't got a home. Well, he fell into the bottle and out of the lines and broke his own heart. But since he's been singing for a place he calls home, he'll sing, take me back to Virginia, back before I had a name. Lay me in a cold field on a mountainside, let the blue sky fill my veins. Let the James, let it carry me home. Let it wash away all my sin. Like an old dogwood,
Like an old dogwood, I'll die. Like an old dogwood, I'll die. Like an old dogwood, I'll die where I began.
Thank you so much. Thanks, guys. Man, Tom almost teared up on that one. Pulling my heartstrings. This next guy is called Something to Hold. And actually just hit 100,000 streams on Spotify. I was pretty excited about it. This is just a song about, you know, what we are for each other in our relationships. And sometimes there's a lot of crazy stuff going on, and all we can do is be something to hold on to for our partners. All right. Shall we? 1, 2, 3, 4.
She's the morning, she's the first light of day, shining through my window, brightening me awake. She's the t-shirt that is mine, my attention that is hers. When she's reaching for the covers, don't confuse her for a girl. When she's standing at the stove, her head and her shoulders, they frame my favorite window. She is a valley down her back, a spinal river, my hand, man. I'm searching hard for something beautiful. Oh, she is the promised land. She give me something, she give me something I can hold on to. I give her love, I give her love, love, love. That's all she needs to make it through. I give her something, I give her something she can hold on to. I give her love, I give her love, love, love. That's all she needs to make it through.
Come on, Tom.
Dreamer, wide awake with hesitation. College trying fit to be tied, an outlier in an aggregation. But now she's waiting, oh, waiting tables at the steak and shaking. But if she could see what she means to me, then she'd have no reservations. She'd give me something, she'd give me something I can hold on to. She gives me love, 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 like a summer afternoon. I give her something, I give her something she can hold on to. I give her love, I give her love, 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 I give her love, oh, oh, I give her love, I give her love. I give her something she can hold on to. 3, 4.
Thank you guys. Tom. That sounded great, man.
Well, there are so many people to thank for our program. First, Will Overman, our guest this evening, and Tom Nadeau, his playing partner. Our volunteers and staff also who make our production happen so beautifully each and every week. Thank you all for listening to our webcast, watching us on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch, and those listening to us on the network of Red Barn stations and media worldwide. Thanks to WEKU, Red Barn's premier radio partner, NPR for Central and Eastern Kentucky. Listen online at weku.org. It's your chance to hear more great live music from Red Barn Radio and WEKU. Those of you here in the Central Kentucky area, be sure to check out Red Barn TV. It's our weekly program of music, now on ABC 36 WTVQ. Red Barn Radio comes to you from our home, the Arts Place Performance Hall in downtown Lexington, Kentucky. Our website has updates and further information on our guests and our program. We're on the web at redbarnradio.com. And now, once again, folks, please welcome back for one more number, the Will Overman duo to the Red Barn stage. Welcome back, Will Overman.
I will gladly take the Will Overman. I'll add that to my title. Before I dive in, just want to thank all you guys. Brad, thanks for having us. I've wanted to play on Red Barn for a long time now, and it's just a treat to be here. And I hope next time my full band can make it, and hope you guys will have us back. This has just been a treat. And Tom Nadeau, you're the man. Let's do it again sometime. This is a new one. It's called Dotted Line, and it's just about moving past what's slowing you down. This will be coming out later this year. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Give me that dotted line, riding the clutch, I'm ready to roll. Shifting down, I'm moving out past, everything's keeping me slow. Give me that dotted line, I'm ready to go. Roll me down easy, don't matter which highway. I need some windshield time with old John Prine since you went and joined Sam Stone. Well, I've never been one to pray, at least not the way they do back home. Some bend their knees, I grab my keys, let the road baptize my soul. Give me that dotted line, riding the clutch, I'm ready to roll. Shifting down, I'm moving out past, everything's keeping me slow. Give me that dotted line, I'm ready to go. Roll me down easy, things didn't go my way, but I got a clear view to me and you, and all that I would change, I'm taking things day by day. Some are different, some the same. Instead of running from, I'm running to, taking pain in my own pace. Give me that dotted line, riding the clutch, I'm ready to roll. Shifting down, I'm moving out past, everything's keeping me slow. Give me that dotted line, I'm ready to roll. Give me that dotted line, I'm ready to go. Give me that dotted line, riding the clutch, I'm ready to roll. Shifting down, I'm moving out past, everything's keeping me slow. And give me that dotted line, I'm ready to roll. Give me that dotted line, I'm ready to go.
Nice job.
Thanks so much, y'all. Thanks for having me.
That's all for our show for this week. You can see and hear Red Barn Radio worldwide, though, as we stream live on the web on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern in North America. You can also listen to archive performances on Spotify and iTunes, and you can watch mountains of video on the Red Barn Radio YouTube channel. Remember, every like, comment, share, and subscribe helps bring roots music Southern style to your neck of the woods. And finally this, if any of our featured artists are performing in your area and you're mobile, get up, go out, and shake your moneymaker on the dance floor. They need you now more than ever. From all of us here at Red Barn Radio now to all of our friends worldwide, keep working together to be safe and healthy. And until next time, good night from Red Barn Radio.